Hello, I'm Matt and welcome to Badger Workshop. At the moment I don't have a good system for cutting down sheet goods. I have a track saw, but I don't have a large bench or something like the Festool MFT, so I thought I'd try and make one. I'm starting with some 18mm MDF. This is a half sheet and I'm going to cut it down to 6 foot long. I'm going to drill a series of holes in the top using the UJK Parf guide system. The kit comes with 2 Parf sticks, which is this metal rule with a series of 3mm holes in it. I don't want to line the stick up with the edge of the board, as the holes will interfere with the bench I'm going to build later. So I'm using a metre rule I have as a spacer. I also set a speed square to the thickness of that metal rule so to space it in from the side the same distance. I can then clamp it securely in place at both ends. Using the 3mm drill bit that comes with the kit, I can then drill through all the holes along the rule. When I built my workbench last year, I marked out and drilled a series of holes for holdfasts and bench dogs. But by measuring it out by hand, you're never going to get it perfect. This system will ensure all my holes are evenly spaced, which will allow me to make some very accurate cuts. The kit comes with these metal pins, so one goes through the first rule into the first hole. Then I measure along 6 holes and put the second rule and second pin in. I then need to count up 8 places on the first ruler. Luckily I've got enough fingers for this. And put the third pin in, joining the 2 rules up. This then forms a triangle, and if I count along the diagonal and it have 10 spaces along it, then I have a 6, 8 and 10 triangle, which means I have a perfect 90-degree corner. When I'm happy I've got that, I can clamp the rail in place along the side of the board. I can now work along the edge and drill out all those holes. When I first got this kit and saw there's geometry involved, I thought this is a bit complicated, but actually doing it was really simple. And as you make checks as you go along, you know you're never going to make any mistakes. So I made the first triangle by putting a pin in the first hole I drilled. I now move along and put a pin in the last hole I drilled on the first row, and then I make another triangle, and then I can drill down that upright piece. I can now take a Parf stick and put a pin in the top of the upright, and then the top of the other upright, and hopefully they match up perfectly. And they did. Just to make double sure, I'm just going to make another triangle and see if it all lines up. And it all lined up perfectly, which shows this system is idiot-proof, which I'm clearly demonstrating. Some more holes then get drilled along that top piece. A lot of drilling. You might want to make sure your batteries are charged before you start this project. Now I can take the Parf stick, put it in a bottom pin and a top pin, then I can work my way up and down doing lots of drilling, filling in all the holes. Thankfully the maths bit's over and now it's just working your way through it. I have a nice grid of holes now on my bench, but it doesn't extend all the way to the end. So I can use the rails and the pins to extend the top and the bottom line of holes. And then I can just move the Parf sticks between the top and the bottom and join up the dots as before. With that all done, I've got a bench top that's full of very nicely spaced 3mm holes. Very pretty, but not much use to anyone. So now we move to the next part of the project. We have this special guide that takes a Forstner bit. Now this has a 3mm point on it, so it fits in the holes we've drilled perfectly. Guide has holes for the pins to go into, so it can be locked in place on either side. Now back to more drilling. This time I'm using the vac at the same time to help try and clear the chips. With the first hole drilled, you can move along, not to the next hole, because the little pins would have nowhere to go into because you've just made a big hole, so you have to skip one hole. This is a very sharp bit and goes through the MDF with ease. This guide keeps you in the correct position and makes sure the drill bit stays parallel. When I drilled out all the holes I could using those little pins, it's time to move on to the bench dogs. The dogs go into either side of the remaining 3mm holes. As you can see, this jig has 2 holes for the drill bits and I've had to change it over to the second hole. Now, I don't suppose it comes as a big surprise to you that the next step is more drilling. Now it's just a question of working my way across the bench, drilling out the remaining 3mm holes. The jig has several spaces for these dogs to go and the drill bits, so you can reach every hole. This little tool didn't come in the kit, but I got one anyway. There's a little blade that you can move around 4 different times so it'll always be sharp, and it just puts this perfect little chamfer on the edges of the holes. So with all the holes chamfered, that's the bench top done. Now I just need a bench for it to go on. So, next time I'm going to work on that. If you look down below in the description, you'll see links to where I got the Parf guide system from. Anyway, thanks for watching, and please subscribe for more videos.